and welcome to Tampa Home Talk. I'm your host, Katrina Madewell, and this 8 o'clock hour will be the Leo and Adam show. What do you think about that? Leo, oh gosh, we miss Adam. Leo and Katrina.
I think we should talk about hurricane season, which just started. I just watched some great hurricane specials last night to get all geared up for it. We can talk about, we had our first major rain in the area since all the windstorms we had since Christmas.
We sure did.
We got roof issues going on around the bay, and we got homes for sale on the upswing.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that a little bit this hour because I pulled some information that I think is pretty important to cover. It talks a little bit about supply chain and that sort of stuff. Let's chat about the numbers, though, shall we, before we jump into the rest of the hour?
I love it. We got more new listings. So what does that mean? That means more people are leaving?
So, well, more what are you looking at? We only have 16 new listings?
Yeah, it's the first 700 we've had since March.
Get on your mic.
Yeah, it's 716, and that's, well, no, we had 714 last week.
Oh, we did? Oh, I got...
Yeah.
Okay, my spreadsheet's not updated.
What are you looking at? Look right here. We were in the sixes.
Mine isn't yellow like that with reds. Mine is just black and white with some orange highlights.
I would honestly rather read the black and white myself, but...
You can't. Yeah. It's.
You were a week off. That must have been last week.
That was last week. So we're about even from last week.
Yeah, we're pretty even from last week. Actually, we're pretty even and pretty flat. The only thing, pending sales are down a little. But we had Memorial Day weekend. Remember we were chatting about that?
Oh, that's right. That's right. But didn't Danielle tell us last week that foreclosures are on the rise?
Danielle has a whole different opinion than me. We'll see whose opinion is right at the end. I think her opinion is different because appraisers took a lot of heat from the last housing collapse that other people did not. So with that being said, I just think her opinion is going to be a little different. Plus, she sees a lot of the refinance appraisals.
Okay, yeah, we don't see those.
Right? So she's got a little different opinion seeing that kind of stuff, I'm sure. So... yeah, the market still, pending's down just a hair, not much. We're still pending more than we're putting on the market. So we're going to continue to get tighter and tighter and tighter for as long as that happens. Last time I measured, we had like a 2-week absorption rate.
Well, I'm just happy to see that more new listings are on the rise.
It's not by much. Like literally, we're talking, you have to put this into perspective, Leo. 50 more houses in 3 counties. 3 counties. Jen was just saying how, all of the counties, Pasco, Pinellas, and Hillsborough, are bigger than the whole state that she's from.
Do you have any listings to share with our listeners?
We've sold everything. The only thing we do have several coming soon that are not yet live or active. And according to the new Realtor Code of Ethics, we're not allowed to talk about them until they're live for everybody to view.
Really?
Yes, it's kind of ridiculous, but they're not ready. I do have one coming up in Land O'Lakes. I've got another one coming in Brandon. I've got quite a few coming up, but literally I've sold everything I have.
So we're not allowed to talk about new listings that are coming?
No.
I can, because I don't have any criteria.
Well, you wouldn't know about them because it's my exclusive right to sell. Right?
You got a good point there.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't believe we have this is the first time, I think, ever in my real estate career I've not had one active listing on the market.
You don't even have a condo?
No, it's sold.
No way.
For a significant price.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And I got hate mail. I had multiple offers and I got hate mail after that.
How'd you get hate mail?
Because what happened was we had put in the realtor notes that we were not accepting any offers or looking at anything until Tuesday, the first day back after the Memorial Day holiday.
Yeah.
Well, I was freaking busy as you can imagine and trying to connect with the seller, which was out of town. We said, hey, we're going to connect the next day. That's what we wanted to do. So Wednesday rolls around. And we go through it, and technically, what happened really was just negotiating back and forth with the seller all day. Took the buyer's agent till after 7 p.m. to return a cleaned up contract, and then he didn't sign it till technically the next day, which was yesterday. So, we didn't get back to the other offers we had until yesterday. So somebody got all huffy and told me that I was a terrible agent.
Wow, Memorial Day was this week?
Do I know that person?
No, I don't think you do. But I looked them up. Of course, every time someone challenges me like that and says, "You're terrible," I'm like, "Okay, I'm terrible because you didn't get your way. That's what it is." But let me look and see how much you actually sold. It's not that much.
Oh, wow.
So,
Memorial Day was this week. This has been a long week.
yes, it has been a long week. But yeah, so even the little condo that you referred me, Pat George, and it was woo. Once that we know on public record what that sells for, I'll let you know. But it was a significant amount, and it was all cash.
Wow, wow, wow. And I hope they took the furniture that went with that.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the furniture is out. We had it staged.
No, I know a lot of the furniture's out.
Super cute place. Really, really cute place.
I hear Pat's phone's ringing in the background.
So, in that particular place, just to give you an idea, we sell all types. And sometimes people think, oh, I can't call you until I get everything out, right? In this particular place, this condo belonged to the man's father. The father passed away, and he had all kinds of stuff in there. And so it's really hard for the heirs, I know, because we're living this right now with my father-in-law, to go through all of their stuff. Especially like in my case, we're working. It takes some time to do that.
Katrina, you were so right about that, and I was part of that. And it's so sad that what people value when it's theirs, and then when people it's not theirs and they don't have any sentimental, that it just goes in the trash.
Yeah.
So I am making sure now. I started, and a couple of my buddies, they're getting up in age too. I said, we just need to purge. We cannot leave this stuff.
This mess for our kids.
For somebody to make decisions and do that. It's just a horrible. And I'm glad I got to experience that, because I am going to purge.
I live that every day, Pat, with our clients. And so
that's sad.
My husband wonders why I come home sometimes and I freak out, because we've been in our home for almost 20 years.
The longer you're in your home, the more stuff you accumulate.
Yeah, and I'm like, we need to throw stuff away. And I start freaking out. And then the challenge is now, my father-in-law passed away, and he keeps bringing stuff to the house. The latest fight now is I've been trying to park my car in the garage, since we've been married. And finally now I almost got a chance to park my car in the garage.
You need to buy a storage shed.
Yeah, even with one of those, I still can't park my car in the garage.
You need to buy a second storage shed.
But I will tell you, my husband's father unfortunately passed away this year on Valentine's Day. And essentially, we have inherited some of his stuff. And some of that stuff is pretty freaking bulky and large. And one of those things also includes a motorcycle that was his father's. And while I certainly understand the sentimental value, and I want my husband to keep it, at the same time, we were on our own path, so I could finally park my car in the garage, and then still didn't happen. So hopefully,
it a Harley?
It was a Harley. Yep.
Now, why would you want to part with that?
I'm not saying we have to. I'm just saying we have another place where I think it could be parked. It doesn't need to go in our garage. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Make sense?
Why don't we talk about, we have some time now, why don't we talk about your husband's garden?
Oh, yes. I tell you, speaking of garden, let's just chat about that for a minute, because
we have a minute left.
Well, this market, this market that the buyers are in, I feel so bad, because the first time home buyer with the limited cash, I know we've said this week after week, but they just can't compete in this market. Unless they've got some cash, they literally cannot buy a home right now.
And they can't find a place to rent.
And the places to rent are crazy. We're going to talk about that. I've got some data pulled on that. But the crazy part is it's just the market's so competitive and crazy right now that some of the main reasons why we see people move and the things they want to do and the joy they get in a home, if they're moving from an apartment, the biggest complaints are noise from the neighbors, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody playing loud music or pouncing around with kids. And the second thing is they don't have any area for pets and or a garden. So those are always top of the list for buyers that are looking for places. So when you have a home, right, like I've had for 20 years with dogs, right? We just let them out to use the restroom at their home, and a garden. Not to say you take that for granted, but I still feel very much for the people that it's very far away for them. So Yep, this is Tampa Home Talk. So anyway, when we come back, I've got a lot of stuff prepared for you guys. Not sure which way we're going to take it. I think I'm going to get into some of the news and media that Florida Realtors reported, because some of it's really good and pretty relevant. If you'd like to connect with us and get some help, maybe you've had someone that's passed away and you need some help selling their property and you just don't know where to start, we can help. 813-377-2775. 813-377-2775. Just call or text and we'll get back to you right away. 813-377-2775. This is Tampa Home Talk. We'll be back in a moment.
I'm Katrina.
Welcome home, Tampa Home Talk. We've got the Katrina and Leo hour as she fiddles on Facebook. So
Yeah.
we got articles, news, media, we got spreadsheets, we got bar charts, we got everything we need to get through this first hour.
So we got some cool stuff here that I want to talk about, because this is all pretty relevant, right? As we've discussed, the first-time home buyers are priced out of the market. Unfortunately, they just are.
And we were saying that years ago that it was going to happen.
Yeah, I've been saying that for a long, long time, and little did I know that COVID was actually going to kick that into high gear. Did not expect that.
Well, I mean, when a place is open and the rest of the country is closed, even though the rest of the country says it's crazy that this place is open, it doesn't matter. People are going to still come here.
I'm looking to see if we have any, just from a sheer curiosity perspective, to see if there was any surveys or reports anywhere that said Florida actually had more deaths being open than other places. I don't think that's the case.
It depends which
I don't
media.
know, but it'll be curious.
Depends which media outlet you get your statistics
It's
from.
unfortunate, but that's the way it is, I think. In this
I mean,
case.
some of the statistics don't take into account Florida's the third most populous state. They just take into account this is the amount of deaths. So you got to do it on a per capita basis. You got to do it on a per infection basis. I mean, there's so many different ways to skew statistics. It's not even. I took a course in skewing statistics for my MBA. So.
Oh wow!
So you can get statistics to say almost anything.
Well, if you're doing a statistic for a certain reason, you want them to skew a certain way or another. So it makes sense. I mean, agents do that, right? Like if they're competing against another agent, and they'll just look at whatever they can to skew the data.
They also say about 65% of all statistics are made up on the spot.
What? Like just random 34%, blah, 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 whatever. No facts. Why do I believe that? I think
it's true.
Oh, gosh. All right. So let's talk about some things that the Federal Reserve has reported this week on Wednesday. So they're talking about the U.S. economy has grew at a faster pace in April and May, despite the disruption and all of this choking supply chains to the manufacturers. The latest survey from the economic conditions, we're talking about the increased vaccinations really just kind of relaxed people in terms of like social distancing. We've seen that. We're already feeling that.
It's called global amnesia, and we knew it was coming. I mean, global amnesia is the state where the human, from a sociological standpoint, forgets whatever hardship they just went through. And they're very quick to want to do that. And the term's called global amnesia. So you're already starting to see it. I mean, we have sports stadiums that are going back to full capacity.
Yeah.
We have...
You know what we are seeing that I like? I'm just saying, because I was weird about this before COVID.
Because Tampa's in the playoffs again? We're liking that?
Of course, I love that.
Yeah.
But besides that, like I was one of those
the cruise
people...
ships are going again, I bet.
That too. Besides that, I hated touching the bathroom handles when I would leave. That was just always a pet peeve of mine. So I preferred always hand paper towels when I left instead of the air dryers, and then I would open the door with the hand paper towels. And if it's not there, I'll use my shirt or something else. But the trash cans are now by the doors still in a lot of places.
Nice. I like the little foot thingies though.
Yes.
Yeah, you can just use your foot to open the door.
That's pretty good too. But I do like the trash cans being right there because I can use it. And like that was the biggest challenge, right? I would like go to a restaurant and open the door with this paper towel in my hand, and there's no trash can anywhere.
You just do a little Michael Jordan.
Carrying it back to the table.
Just a little Michael Jordan. Throw it from 3-point land.
Some of these are far, and you know.
Yeah.
And then what happens if you miss? All that.
You just
stuff.
keep going.
Okay.
Well. Okay. I guess there's a big difference between the men's room and the women's room.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I think there is.
Yeah. If you just kind of you miss. You just keep going.
So anyway, according to the Federal Reserve, they're saying that the increased vaccination rates have actually helped boost consumer spending.
Of course.
And in the areas that have really been boosted, leisure travel, of course.
Of
We're all
course.
on lockdown. And restaurant dining.
Those are obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, those are very obvious. I mean, people can go out to eat more. They're going to take advantage of it. They're going to be shopping more. They're going to be going traveling, vacation. I mean, right now, you think prices are crazy here. Try and get a hotel down in Key West.
Oh, I can't imagine how much it is.
It's like $300 a night for something on the east side of the island.
I'm surprised you can get it for that. Pat tried to stay locally in Pinellas County. And Pat, are you there? I'll let him tell you the story. He's not there. He's doing traffic crime investigation. Anyway, he went to go get a hotel room, and they gave him the price per night. And he goes, "No, sir, I just want to rent it for the night. I don't want to buy it."
No, I mean, hotel prices, they're so high. It's like, you can get a flight from here to Chicago for $80. You can get a hotel in downtown Chicago for like $70 to $100 at a really good hotel. You come into Florida, it's like thousands of dollars in airfare, and then
it is cheap
hundreds
in those ones that are moving away, huh?
Yeah, it's very cheap in those ones that are
Wow.
moving away. I mean, you got to fill the space. I'm wondering now that businesses are realizing employee morale is down, sadness is up, and there's a drive to put people back in offices. Are we going to still have that huge influx of people who think they can work anywhere?
I think that's going to continue for a while. I think some people are, once you work from home, I think they're just not want to go back to work. And I think they will actually probably leave their employer and seek out an opportunity where they can.
Yeah, because I know with depositions that I do from time to time, we have one now that they want to delay the deposition. And they're like, we're not going to do it via Zoom or whatever this tele thing is. We're going to do it in person. And the second they lift those restrictions, we're deposing you. I'm like, okay, see you in 2022.
I think more and more things are going to continue. I think it's just a new way of life. A lot of stuff's going to be virtual.
I like the stuff that doesn't need to be in person being virtual. Meetings. I remember back when I was working for a different employer, my boss's boss would be flying out constantly to California to attend meetings.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a waste of
that was
days.
Me, four times a year minimum.
Well, this was like twice a month, but it was like a complete waste of time and resources to fly these people when a Zoom meeting in that scenario could work, or a deposition where you're trying to coordinate people from all over the state of Florida. Put them digitally. I mean, that sort of thing makes sense. Cut down the global travel.
I do think we are going to have less travel for business and more travel for leisure. I think we're just going to see that. So you're talking a lot about the factory output being increased, even with the significant supply chain challenges. And the interesting thing, too, which we already knew about this, but they're talking about widespread examples of price increases.
Oh, definitely.
And some of the things that they mentioned in here is car dealers.
Of course.
I've heard that too from the guy that I mentioned in my book, was helping him helping someone else get connected with him for a car. Manufacturers and home builders. Those are the big ones that they mentioned. And we're feeling that. We're living it.
Which the weirdest part about this, and I know this because I have one of those home warranty things, and my range kind of blew out. Like the burners work, but the range doesn't. And just trying to get a service technician is tough because I get all these notices about parts are on back order. They can't find parts. If they have to replace the unit, they can't find a replacement unit. It's just like appliances are like, that's the hardest part of any new build right now, is getting and securing appliances.
We've seen that too, where basically builders can't get the refrigerator. We saw that a lot. They could not get the refrigerator that they had promised the buyer. And in the builder's contract, there's a clause that says they have the right to substitute out materials. And so there was some back and forth on, is this the material or is it something else? But technically it falls under that. If it's not available, they have to provide it with something else. And there were some where they were even giving them a credit to buy what they wanted later, and they didn't realize how hard it was going to be to go find a refrigerator.
Especially if you want one that orders groceries for you, that lets you know via your cell phone that you're running low on milk. I mean, fridges are getting scary now with the way they can track what you're eating.
Yeah, it's all these smart home appliances. I mean, there's so many of these. So What else was I going to chat about in here? So I had quite a few other things we wanted to talk about. So let me look. They're talking about rates, of course, a little bit, which is important. So they're saying most analysts believe, based on the comments of the Fed chairman, which is Mr. Jerome Powell, that the central bank will leave rates where they've been for the past year, record lows of, so this is the part people don't understand, from 0 to 0.25% as central bank continues to promote strong rebound from the pandemic triggered recession. So I hear people all the time saying, well, why can't I get one of those 0% rates? Or why can't I get one of those 0.25 rates? And so the way it works is that your bank actually gets money from the Federal Reserve at these interest rates, and then they relend it to you at these really low rates that you're seeing, which is basically the 2 and 3%, which, make no bones about it, is still crazy low. So I don't know about you, Leo, or what your interest rate was on your first house, but mine was nowhere near where they are today.
Yeah, I didn't really carry mortgages, so I always bought cheap and bought it from the courthouse steps on auction for foreclosure. So never really carried a mortgage. I mean, currently I have a mortgage, but it's low. It's like in the low fours.
Yeah, I don't think this generation now is going to know what to do when we have to go back to regular rates, and we will at some point in the future.
You mean there's a chance I can actually open a CD at a bank and it has a decent
actually
rate?
Get some money, yeah.
I remember when I used to ladder CDs. I mean, they were giving me 5 to 6% on a CD. Just put your money in the bank for a year, get 6%, and it was like no risk, easy money. And now like CDs are like 0.02.
Well, when you think about it too, like what incentive is there for people to save? Right?
Not in this economy.
Based on the current rates and the free money, there just isn't.
Where our economy is pushed forward on people spending money.
Yeah.
So there is no real incentive for people to save. It's an illusion. I mean, it's something you need to be doing, but there's no incentive for you to be saving, and it takes a lot of effort for you to save.
Yep. This is Tampa Home Talk. We'll be back right after the break. Stick around.
Welcome home. This is Tampa Home Talk. We're talking about, wow, you spent the whole break highlighting and underlining on paper.
Well, there was only a couple things I want to make sure that we didn't miss. And then I am going to move into Florida, having 7 people move in for every 1 person that moves out. We're going to
Yeah, but how many people die? So we have 7 people move in,
here we
1
go.
person moves
stats.
on,
okay.
And then how many people die? I mean,
right
there's
now
statistics.
we're having a lot of people move. I just know that. So
I know. I just back to statistics are skewed. I mean, this makes you think that people moving out is the only reason why people are going to leave the state.
All right. So one more thing on the Fed economic survey before we jump into that.
Oh, okay.
So they're saying the overall economy grew at a 6.4% rate for the first quarter of the year, but the economists are actually forecasting a growth rate that could top 10% in this April to June quarter.
Oh, I'd easily believe it.
Yep. So they're saying the growth for the full year could exceed 7%.
But again, it's going to be industry specific. There are going to be industries that are going to take a hit from this. I mean,
but they're saying the best it's been in 4 decades.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always like one business that thrives when another one doesn't, right?
Yeah, like our paint company that started making
Yes.
hand sanitizer.
Right.
Are they going to go back to making paint?
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. All right. So let's get back into Florida, having 7 people move in for every 1 that moves out. I mean, the current listing inventory, Leo,
that proves
we
that.
have is showing, and then every buyer we have are almost relocations into the state. So, I mean, I've never seen more relocations ever at any time in my career ever. So part of the thing about this is Florida having the lower tax rates. We're the 7th lowest tax rate in the whole U.S.
Yeah, I love our tax rates. I love the fact that, we don't have an income tax based on your employer. That lowers our taxes as well. I mean, this is all good stuff. I mean, if you're buying, the trick with Florida is the state makes a lot of money from something called impact fees. So if you're going to build on virgin land, you're going to pay an impact fee for the privilege of doing so. And that's in conflict with conservationism, which says, hey, we need to leave more green space in the state. So that there's this huge conflict right now between the cities and counties claiming they want to be environmentally friendly versus this is how they get their money.
Yeah, it makes sense. And there's just a demand, right? So at some point they have to respond to that demand too, right? So the crazy part is they're actually, and you've probably seen this too, the counties and municipalities are so overworked. The demand is so great for inspections that they literally are wanting people to go private provider. They're pushing for that because they don't have the manpower or the resources to do the inspections.
They're either pushing private provider or they're actually allowing contractors to send in photo packets.
Yeah, I've never seen anything quite like this. That may present another whole set of challenges in the future, but that's where we are now. So Florida here has the lowest tax rate, attracting people from all over the country. So over the last 8 years, we've had an average of 4 people move in for each person that left. However, we saw 7 people move in for every person that left. This is according to a Florida Realtors report. So Florida gained more residents than all but 4 states between 2013 and 2020 because we have no income tax for the state and the opportunity for beachfront living. So some of those other states don't quite have that. So, or if they do, it's a little more limited capacity where we're a whole peninsula, right?
And that opens up another dangerous scenario, which is utilities. I mean, Miami experienced this when it happened. When you knock down a bunch of 2-3 story buildings and put up 20-30 story skyscrapers, your utility structure is going to start failing. You don't have the same. It needs more water. It needs more electricity. They size pipes to certain dimensions, and they just can't get more electricity through a certain wire size. They can't get more potable water through a certain pipe size, and they can't flush the waste after a certain point. So they get these pinch points where the buildings are going up too fast. And then the streets are all clogged because of all the construction. It's happening in Channelside.
They're going to have to move to solar or something that makes more sense.
Solar doesn't work on a building of that size. You can't get enough panels on your roof to cover it. You can barely get enough panels on your roof to cover your needs for a house, let alone if you have a condominium that's 20 stories. Solar is not going to work.
Well, they're going to have to figure something out, that's for sure. That's why they rely on the engineers like you guys.
Well, what ends up happening is you end up like in Channelside where whole streets get shut down so they can put pipes in the street for people to use.
Yeah.
It's also happening downtown. I mean, just look at Columbus and Nebraska. Right now at that intersection, which is near where I live, Columbus has been shut down in one direction now for 3 months, and now they're starting on Nebraska. It's 2 different improvement corridors that have this infrastructure enrichment happening at what is not supposed to be at the same time, but is happening at the same time.
It's, my husband works and deals with some of that stuff too, because the infrastructure under the ground's pretty old. So I know he deals with some of that. But a comment real quick about this 7 to 1, right? So every 7 people moving in, 1 moving out. One of the movers that we work with regularly is watching. She said that she's personally experiencing more relocations from other states coming in than she's ever seen in her career. So, and I can attest to this too. It's the same thing we're seeing. So, and here's the thing. I had this whole conversation with a buyer yesterday that he said, his exact words were, these people think their houses and their land is worth gold prices. They think it's worth gold. And I said, well, right now
it is. Yeah.
And he goes, well, this is just going to be like 08. It's going to crash and burn. I said, no, it's not. And let me tell you why.
It's going to fizzle.
Yeah, I chat about that. And so they're talking about that same thing in this article, how the number of out-of-state buyers who have sold their home in expensive markets are buying property using cash in Florida. So we've said that for so long. New York has actually lost more residents than any other state. For every 8 people leaving to 1 moving in.
Well, it's been like that for a while. I mean, if you look at I know the Electoral College, and I'm not saying this to be political. The Electoral College system is based on population. It used to be New York was number 3 and Florida was number 4. When they redid the Electoral College last time, and I forget what year it was, that switched.
Yeah.
Florida became number 3 and New York became number 4.
We're going to see significant changes in that in the next election cycle as well. We are definitely going to see changes.
To the Electoral College layout?
Well, Florida's supposed to get more votes because of the people that are moving in.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. So they do it based on the population.
They do it.
Yeah,
they do it based on population.
And, Mark Steckman is watching too, and he's saying as well that he's seen more California and Western license plates than ever before. And that's true. And I'll tell you the other thing too that I've never quite experienced in 30 years is people moving for political reasons. I've seen so many people move for political reasons than any other.
Well, I mean, if everyone moving to Florida because the state was open when other states were closed, that is a political issue right there. That it would be a political reason. So yeah, that I would have to agree with wholeheartedly.
When you have people flat out say to you things like, "Oh, well, I want to move to a red state," you're like, "Okay." So literally it's that crazy. And so some of the people that we've had moving from California are just that. So
well, it depends.
And they're tired of the crazy California political climate. I mean, it's pretty nuts out there.
And it depends how red or how blue a state is. I mean, some of the red states right now are passing almost anti-abortion laws. And I don't think our state is that red as far as at the level of what they're passing.
I think it's pretty crazy, some of the stuff we're seeing. But, I mean, you can, even if you don't have your thumb on this stuff, like what I'm saying, based on the people that we see moving in and the limited people moving out, you just look around at the license plates. Have you noticed that? Like you probably do. You're super visual observer.
Yeah, I drive around a lot.
There's a ton of out-of-state license plates.
But I just assume because our office now is located near Busch Gardens that all these out-of-state licenses are just going to theme parks. It's summer. Summer nights.
Maybe, but I definitely know that there's just more people moving here permanently. So
let me ask you a question, Katrina. Earlier in the show, you said you have nothing for sale right now.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole bunch out there. What are you guys going to do? Shampoo the carpeting? Paint the walls?
What do you mean shampoo the carpeting, paint the walls?
For here in the office, something to do.
Oh, and here. No, we have plenty of buyers. It's just that there's not a lot to pick from. Like,
I'm looking at her buyer team, and they're just hem-hawing and jibber-jabbering out there. They're not even they're not paying attention to us. They're not paying attention to leads. They're just hem-hawing and jibber-jabbering.
When I've been working on the seller side for so long, that basically that's, I'm used to having 10 active listings at all time, not including other stuff that's coming up or pending.
I'm used to having a 7-minute segment on this show 2 years ago where I got 7 minutes to talk about listings. I missed that. It's all numbers.
Let me ask you this also. And when they do sell their homes, where are these people going? And are they coming back to you saying, I can't find what I want?
That's a good question.
Happy. I wish I didn't sell.
So the most recent 2 that I sold, the one, you know them, Pat, because you referred them. The father passed away, so that's what you were saying. And that's one of those properties that hit the market and sold. Another one, the guy is just getting such a huge return on his money that basically he's like, yeah, I'm going to move to Tennessee, which they're also seeing an influx of people moving there as well.
No, Tennessee is so crowded. The traffic is. I have friends that have gone and moved from there, other radio people, and that traffic is
Nashville.
just horrendous. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nashville is like its own separate breed of Tennessee, that's for sure.
All right. Well, I'm not selling, so don't come near my house.
Well, I can't go near your house because of the safety hazards, but...
Yeah, you're right about that.
How many times you get approached
all the time,
to sell?
Constantly.
Letters, phone calls?
Probably twice a week, but I have a friend, and I told you that he lives in the area of Gray, just west of Del Mabry. He gets minimum 1 a day, either a call or a knock on the door. Minimum.
Nice. Well, if you're interested in buying Pat's house, text Pat to 813-377-2775. That's text Pat to 813-377-2775.
Selling your house that's not for sale. Oh, my goodness.
Wait, did I just violate your...
No, trust me. If I ever decided to sell my house, and I hope it's still a decent market, it's going to be as is, and you are never going to look at it because you are too picky.
We'll make it amazing. Don't worry about that. We will definitely get it up to snuff, and it will be amazing before it hits the market.
No, I thought about bringing Leo over to my house, and just for the fun of it, say, okay, Leo, come on over. We can hang out in the pool, have a little dinner, and just walk around the house, and he would not stop.
I can't turn it off. People don't invite me over to their houses for that very reason. I can't turn it off. I'm looking up, looking around. You want to distract me? You better put a video game or a charcuterie plate in front of me.
All the defects that comes along with Pat's house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see like how things come along, but it's definitely a hot market. So I mean, according to this recent report, 7 coming into the state for every 1 that's leaving. Don't think it's measuring the other stuff, right? Like
downsizing, death, dismemberment.
Yeah. But I would say probably a lot of the stuff on the market is just that. So I know we are cleaning stuff up. One of the ones we put under contract recently, same thing. It was an aired property. It's been rented, and he's like, it's a good time to sell. Agent went in there, got it all dolled up, and put it on the market. So, all right, this is Tampa Home Talk. When we come back, let's chat about 1 in 5 U.S. homes is now a multi-gen home.
That's awesome.
So that means that parents are living with the kids. The boomerang college kids are coming back. You have 2 and 3 generations sometimes in the same household. Stick around. We'll be back right after this break.
Well, welcome back, and welcome Adam Talley from Talley Insurance with all of your hurricane news coming right up right now. How you been, Adam?
Good. Good morning.
Morning.
Did you get your new hire over there saddled up or what?
Oh yeah, she's doing great. She's actually already helped one of your clients this week. So you gave her very first sale. So congratulations on your behalf as well, there, Katrina.
You got to re-inspect her now. Make sure she's got our people stuff perfect.
Oh, she does. She does. She's doing great. So we're excited over here at Talley Insurance. We got definitely in growth mode.
Nice.
These days, so it's always a good thing.
Well, yeah, for every one client you leave, there's 7 potential new ones coming to knock on your door. That's what we just talked about in the last segment.
Are you seeing that too, Adam? Like a lot of people moving from other states because you report their prior address, don't you?
Yeah, so we are seeing quite a bit of most of the new business that's coming in. I would say is a lot of people that are moving in from out of state. It used to be. That was like 1 or 2 out of 10 that we were doing on new clients. Now it seems it's almost like 50-50, and which is it's good and bad. Definitely have to answer a lot of questions regarding hurricanes and floods. And,
I bet that's probably the
else.
hot button for you. Is that related to your tip of the week?
Yeah. So tip of the week, and we can definitely dive in on that. So. Couple things up for the tip of the week, and I was going to do flood insurance this week as hurricane season started this week. But for those of you out there that are not in a zone that's a A zone or a V zone, so anything that starts with an A or starts with a V, you're in a non-mandatory flood zone, right? So that means your mortgage company isn't requiring you to have flood insurance. However, there are still plenty of flood insurance claims that come from those X zones. So the important thing to know is that you have a 30-day waiting period if you want a flood policy, and you're in one of those, and it's not tied into a loan closing. So
yeah, unless you're purchasing.
Right, exactly. So if you're new to the area and we had these storms come through the last couple of days and your street still hasn't drained really well, well, this would just be the tip of the iceberg if we actually had a storm hit us. So you might actually want to look at flood insurance and see if it fits in the budget and if it's right for you. We're seeing still seeing a lot of people go through the NFIP, which is the National Flood Insurance Program, but we are seeing a lot of private market as well. The private market rates are looking much better than they used to, and we have a lot more carriers now that are doing that flood by endorsement, which used to be pretty rare, but you can do it on your homeowner's policy somewhat regularly now. So there's a lot of options out there. The last one, if we're talking about adding it to your homeowner's policy, that's one way to avoid that 30-day wait, because that would just happen right now today. So a lot of options out there. Text FLOOD to 813-377-2775, and we can get your answers out there for you.
Get you a quote. Even if you're not in a flood zone, it's a good idea to have flood insurance.
You bring up a great point, Adam. I mean, what I typically talk about during this time of the year is the water table. So when we get our first couple of good rains of the year, the water can just seep right into the ground because that's the loose, sandy soil that Florida has. So if you're starting to see, like if we had the rain yesterday, and if you're starting to see puddles in your backyard, you're in for a world of hurt when we actually get to the rainy season and we actually have a saturated water table. That means those puddles in your backyard are going to take a lot longer to disappear. And if we have concurrent rains, like we did in 2016 in August, the water table will fill up, and the water's not going to drain, and you're just going to have that's where flooding actually gets really bad in like South Tampa, for instance.
Mm-hmm. I don't think a lot of people realize how flood prone that area is.
And you'll probably remember, Leo, but what was that storm that it wasn't even really a hurricane by the time it got there, but that sat over Houston for 5 days, and they got like 60 inches of rain in 5 days? What storm was that?
Oh, I'm trying to remember the name of the storm. I know what you're talking about. It was several years ago. But yeah, that's a great example. I mean, even in Florida, we look back to the 2004-2005 hurricane season. That season as well, we had a bunch of saturating storms. We had a hurricane park itself outside of West Palm Beach for a week. It didn't move. It was a Category 1. It was far enough away where it wasn't any tropical storm force winds, but that thing just kept dumping water on the state. And that's what happens.
Sometimes the water is the bigger problem.
Well, the water is the biggest problem. I mean, the way storm surge works, storm surge is where most of your deaths will come from a hurricane. It's not going to come from the wind. Right. You can dodge wind. You can't dodge storm surge.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah. So
not to scare you guys, but get all the information you need.
Get your flood insurance.
Moving here from another state.
Yeah, especially if you're noticing like when it rains, your street's hard to get through now. Yeah, just wait till we hit rainy season. You definitely need your flood insurance.
You should do a series of videos, Adam, with the regular questions that you're answering. I'm sure day over day over day.
We should. Another tip, and I'm sure we'll do this whenever we do our hurricane show. But we have a lot of people moving here from out of state. Don't walk in water that's standing on the street. You don't know if there's a power line down or something.
Oh, definitely.
You're talking about people getting killed. That's the other way. Is they're out and about, when they shouldn't be.
Just stay in your home. Don't leave.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, there's
Floridian. Don't go anywhere. Right?
Yeah. Hunker down.
Shelter in place.
Yeah. There's another danger you don't see. Like even if you don't have overhead power lines, the underground power lines can be just as dangerous. Those manholes flood. Those wires become hit with water, and then you don't see the power line at all. It's not a down power line; it's an in-ground power line that's energized the street.
How do they protect them under the ground?
Well, normally they're encased in concrete. They're in these pipes. Everything's just snug. But when that much water is coming in and that much water is flowing around really fast, it can rip splices open, and that's where you get those dangers. So yeah, Adam brings up a great point. If there is if it is storm surging and there's flooding, do not walk in the puddles.
Yeah, so get your flood insurance quote at a minimum, and get your flood insurance, because otherwise, if you don't get it right away, you're gonna have to wait
30 days, and then you got those windows where if it's this named storm in the system, you can't get any insurance. Yes,
if it's in the box. We're pretty much stuck. And what's unfortunate with that, I'm glad you brought that up, is we're seeing a lot of people going towards Citizens now. Well, Citizens, they don't care if it's in the Panhandle and if the storm's in the Panhandle and you're in Miami, they don't care. So you won't be able to bind coverage or anything else like that. So if you're shopping and Citizens is your option, bind as soon as you can. So, anyways, guys, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing everybody next week.
Absolutely. We'll see you next week, Adam. And this is Tampa Home Talk. We'll be back for an exciting hour number 2. Stick around, and we'll be joined by our next guest. And you won't have to listen to just me and Leo babble all hour.
But that's a fun hour.
Sometimes.
And we had Adam. Too.
Yes, we had Adam towards the end. So this is Tampa Home Talk. Love where you live, or we'll fix it. If you want to get us, our off-air number is 813-377-2775. 813-377-2775. We'll be back for hour number 2, so stick around.